As Bill Stewart once said, I got you a good one, didn't I? Welcome in, everybody. Three Guys Before the Game. It's episode number 481, and it is Neal Brown visits Three Guys Before the Game, along with El Senatore, Brad Howe. We welcome you in. Three Guys Before the Game, brought to us by the premier recreational vehicle dealer in the state of West Virginia. They do everything, travel trailers, fifth wheels, you name it, they got it. It's Burdett Camping. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. Right now, $3,000 under invoice on all their 2022 fifth wheels. And, of course, the Forest River Wildwood FSX travel trailer, $10,000 off the retail price. Three Guys also brought to us by Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. By Lou Wendell Marine Sales, 45-plus years in business, selling family fun, the premier pontoon boat dealer in the state. Yes, they do the James Bond pontoon boats for the Bond movies.
Unconfirmed.
Working on that. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. And our good friends at GoMart. You know what they say. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Pretty good, I think. Don't you think?
Strong.
Yeah. So I got a situation. Remember, I had this master plan when we started the show. I said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to text our guy to have Neal call right when we start the show.
Right.
And then I forgot that my voice to record on my text.
To send it?
Yeah, so I recorded everything, the whole open, so I had it. Anyway. Neal's
I think it'll come together just fine.
Yeah. We got textual healing coming up, all kinds of stuff. Had a couple interesting, really interesting texts that we're going to get into. So West Virginia here.
By the way, real quick before you start that, as we're waiting for the head coach, you got a nice T-shirt on today.
I didn't think you'd notice. It's the Efforting T-shirt, in case you didn't know.
Long sleeve version.
Long sleeve Efforting T-shirt.
How's it feel?
Really comfortable.
Good? Yeah.
Seriously,
yeah.
Very good.
Looks good.
And as you all know, we're heading toward that portion of the year where you need the longer sleeve. I mean, you do high school football games this weekend, right? It might just get a little cooler, so you might want to do that. But that is available in case you want to take a look in detail. Are these available now? On the episode 800?
They are. Yeah, episode800.com.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, cool.
Efforting more styles, too.
Really?
Yeah, constantly. Continuous update of styles.
We've had a couple of, I just sent the wrong number again. Anyway.
So someone's confused as to why you're saying call us now?
No, I gave them, it's.
I mean, you're sending it to some random person that shouldn't receive that.
No, it's the right person. Just give him a different number. We'll get it. Anyway, I'm glad that Kirchhoff's not here because he gets very nervous in these situations. He'd be spinning around in that seat right now.
Yeah, this is a podcast. We do whatever. And here's the deal, as Neal can do. Sometimes the play breaks down.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes the play breaks down, and you just got to scramble out of it and pick up some positive yardage.
Yeah.
I have a feeling we'll pick up some positive yardage here just in a matter of seconds.
Yeah. You told me before we started that you did some statistical work on quarterbacks that made you raise your eyebrow from the last time we got together.
I did.
And what made you go wow?
Well, it just backed up what we've talked about as Garrett Green, assuming it's Garrett Green, ascends to the starting position here. It's going to be cutting down turnovers.
Yeah.
But then the other part of it is, and let's just stay on the passing side from the quarterback position, because I think everybody listening to this podcast knows what Garrett brings when he runs the football. And I think that area is going to continue to improve and thrive, be it on the run-pass option, be it a scramble, be it a design quarterback run. I think the part that backs up, the statistical part that backs up what we've said is that, PFF, our friends over at PFF that do a deep dive before and after, or after every single game and put grades onto every position on the field, they have a stat called turnover-worthy plays. Mm-hmm. And that's defined as a pass that has a high percentage chance to be intercepted or a poor job of taking care of the ball and fumbling. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it turned into an interception, but sometimes the throw can be a poor throw.
Could you hold that?
I will hold that thought.
Could you hold that? Could you hold that thought?
Happy to hold that.
Yeah, just hold that thought. We'll get back to it.
Stop right there.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen.
By the way, I told you that he'd scramble out of the play.
Yeah, he scrambled.
Neal's a playmaker.
We audibled.
Playmaker.
Neal's a playmaker.
Pick up some yardage here.
Please welcome to the three guys before the game, the head coach of the West Virginia University Mountaineers, Neal Brown. Hello, sir. How are you?
I am doing well. I'm doing well. How do we have all three guys here, or is it just a twosome today?
Thank you. It's a twosome. You become the third guy. If that was one of your dreams in life, one of these days I'd like to be three guys before the game and be guy three. You're in.
Got it. Today's the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering if I can do that. Then I want to do the whole Metro News gig, just daily radio show. I want to talk to the governor. I want to talk to Senator Manchin. I mean, I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
quite frankly, what we're doing is a lot easier than what you're doing. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, well, that's true. But however, what Hoppy has to deal with, I mean, it ranks right up there. I mean, he takes more crap from both sides than one world would imagine.
Well, hey, I'm prepped for that.
Yeah,
I'm well conditioned for that.
That's true. He could step right into talk line. I think it'd be fine. That's a good point.
But here's the difference. Hoppy takes it from both sides. You get it from just one side, Neal. You got your lovers and then you got your haters, but Hoppy has hate from both sides, which is really hard. That's the hard thing.
Yeah, he created it though.
Well, I'm glad you took a shot at him. If it wasn't you.
No. It's good radio.
Yeah.
Good radio.
He does.
I will say this, since you said I took a shot at him, which I didn't mean to, but it did come off that way.
Yeah.
Is he is the one spot for news in West Virginia. I mean, I will give him that. And job well done.
Oh, absolutely. He has built an absolute. You're right. He's built a brand in which he is the resource for information that comes out of the state. And obviously, CBS News did that feature on him, and I mean, it just amplifies it. So
yeah, it's impressive.
Have you, by any chance, you've had a few things on your mind here since camp started. Do you have a tally or an Excel spreadsheet on your computer of the Brown Mention Index? We've talked to you about this in the past.
Oh yeah, I do not. I know who's. I can probably assume who's pretty high.
Go ahead. Give me two names you think is high on the BMI.
Yeah. So outside of the normals, because
right.
you guys really don't chart the normals when I talk about the O-line or Sean Martin or
right.
Robert Burks, those guys.
Right. Yes.
So offensively, BMI rating, Traylon Ray.
He's up there.
Bingo.
Yeah,
Hit winner.
Jaheim White.
Yes.
Bingo.
1 and 2. You're off to a good start.
He's doing really well.
He's on it. He knows.
I've talked about Michael Hayes some when I get asked questions about special teams.
Yeah.
And then defensively, Anthony Wilson.
Yes.
That's one. There's one other
one that I think may be the league leader.
The top of the BMI defensively is still missing.
Beanie Bishop.
Bingo.
You.
See, he knows.
I know he knows. He's on it.
But he doesn't have it written down. If it's in.
No, I don't have it. This is going off the top of my head.
Yeah, he's on it.
I don't know if you know this or not, but Brad, he launched several years ago. He launched Will Greer's Heisman campaign. He kind of got into. He felt pretty good about it, so he is now. He now has launched a Heisman campaign for Jaheim White as well. I mean, and the reason for it, a bit tongue-in-cheek, is that because he was getting so much mention, not just from you, but from everyone, he's going like, well, we got to launch the doggone thing early. You want to be first and last.
Heisman frontrunner.
Jaheim
White.
Yeah. Okay.
But hold on. Let's have a serious question off. Obviously, we're having some fun there, but you have mentioned Jaheim White a lot. Let's start right there because I think the surprise, I'll speak for others, but also myself, I think the surprise, Neal, coming out of that is that's a loaded room. You've got a ton of running backs that we've seen produce, and yet there's a guy that's new on the scene that's really broken through enough for him to be top of the BMI. What specifically have you seen out of Jaheim White?
Well, let's talk about reasoning first. Part of the reason is we've limited CJ and Jalen Anderson in some live situations, so he's got a lot of work. So he's got the most carries of anybody in fall camp, and so the more opportunities you have, the opportunity to produce is higher. So he's been productive, but he's had more opportunities. I like his game. I think he's a really good match. The fun thing about our running backs, they're all different. You got CJ, who's a 240 guy that that has really good ball skills, still learning the position, but gets his shoulders downhill. JJ's kind of Justin Johnson's kind of the guy that can do a little bit of everything, and he's probably our most disciplined running back. Jalen Anderson has a really unique style. He's very patient. He never looks like he's running full speed, but I don't see him get caught either. And then Jaheim is kind of a slasher. You know, he's not very tall, but he's really strong. I mean, if you look at his lower body, and he's a tough tackle. And so he can do things in the pass game, and he can break tackles and run inside and outside. And he's not some of the guys that are shorter in stature don't have long speed. He's got long speed.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, Neal, and so he's just one of those guys, right? So you mentioned Traylon Ray, and we're going to mention, obviously, and you've been mentioning Rodney Gallagher. So in years gone by, when you first got into this business, it was extremely rare to have the ability for true freshmen, or at least that many, to literally get into the mix, you know, maybe a special teams guy here or there. Why has that changed over time?
Well, by necessity, first of all, because if you don't play them, they're leaving. And so I think, and let me move back on this, because one of the items is more and more guys are graduating early. So they're there in January, so they get 15 practices, which is essentially equal to a fall camp, and they get a winter strength conditioning that's very similar to your summer.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're getting double what they would normally get, you know, before it was kind of the norm for people to graduate early. So I think that's a huge factor. Number two is the transfer portal is expedited, because you always got to think, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that we're retaining top talent? And probably in years past is you would look and say, man, I know player X is going to be a great player down the road. Man, I want to redshirt him this year. That way he'll have 4 great years. Well, and you can do that with offensive linemen and some interior defensive linemen, but almost every other position you're going to have to play them, and you have to get them in the mix and play them on special teams and kind of gradually get them into game action.
Let's go back, Neal, and talk running backs for a minute. Now, for the Penn State people that are listening, you know, Penn State people are listening and try and glean some information out of Neal. Listen, I mean, I don't want to blow your game plan, but I know like Eddie Vesterinen is probably going to get a couple carries. Mike Lockhart down around the goal line, you give him a couple carries. There's going to be about 9 backs that you work in there.
Out of the wishbone.
That's for the Penn State folks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now when they turn it off, we go back to us. Does this allow you, these multiple guys and the need to play them early, has that allowed you, just in general terms here, I know you don't want to give away the playbook here, has that allowed you to get more creative with the offensive playbook, given that you have so many running backs specifically to try and get in there and get some action?
You got to figure out how you're going to play your pieces. I think that's always the fun thing about figuring out who you're going to be and what your plan is going to be, is how do you get your best people involved and how do you get your best people the ball. And so that's been fun. The other thing, and I should have mentioned this with the previous question, is the summer OTAs have been really helpful too, because guys know what to do before you start fall camp. They're not learning as you go.
Bilal Marshall said this last week, and you've also said it regarding Rodney Gallagher, that he has exceeded expectations to this point. You all knew he was extremely talented, but how long it would take to adjust. What has he shown you in these preseason practices that made you all come to the conclusion that he's ahead of the line that you guys had kind of thought he would be?
Well, it started in the summer when he first got here. For a guy that you know played football basically during football season and played basketball the rest of the time for most of his career, right up until his senior year, you know, he really competed hard in the weight room. And a lot of times those guys that are making the transition over from basketball don't necessarily compete all the time in the weight room until they really appreciate what it does for them, right? And then he was really hungry. He was in the building as much as anybody over the summer, and I think that really endeared him to his teammates and the staff. So his work habits and his preparation were elite. And then the things we knew he could do, we knew he was going to be good with the ball in his hands. and his route running has been further along than I thought it would be based on him playing quarterback in high school. And he's scrappy. He's been a factor on special teams, and he's really blocked for his size. He's blocked and learned the technique and used the technique and been an effective blocker on the perimeter.
The other guy you mentioned, it's almost turning into like an A and 1A when you talk about these freshmen coming in, Gallagher being one, of course, and Traylon Ray, who you mentioned earlier as well. What have you seen out of him? What's the expectation for him as you get ready here for Penn State in these first couple games? It sounds like, based on what you said earlier, those guys are both going to play right away, and the expectation is they go out and make plays, huh?
Yeah, they're going to play. They're going to play for sure. I try to minimize the expectations. I'm unsure. I don't know how. I think they're going to handle the elements and the speed of the game. And my belief is, but it's going to be the first time. So I'm not naive to think that it's just going to be a normal Saturday for those guys either. So I try to temper expectations. Both those kids are going to be great players. It's not if, it's just when. When's that going to happen? And they're going to play, but how much and how many targets, all that kind of stuff, I think it's to be determined.
You've been blowing a lot of noise inside the stadium to try to get you guys ready. My eye doctor is an Ohio State alum, and he has been to Penn State 4 games since expansion. So we hadn't played. They hadn't expanded to over 100,000 last time West Virginia played. And he says it's so loud that you literally cannot hear yourself talk. Okay, fine. We get that part of it. We've played in big stadiums before. How do you deal with it? How big of is that something that getting you rolling over in the middle of the night worrying about it, or how are you dealing with that?
Did a lot of asking questions, people that played there in big games. Mm-hmm. I think because it's the first game, because it's a night game, because it's a game that used to be a rivalry or was played every year for such a long time, I think it's going to be really loud. And so spent a lot of time talking to Michigan, Ohio State people that have played in the whiteout. And so our expectation is going to be really loud. And so in preparation for that, we've been working, offensively and special teams. We've been working really since the summer on how we're going to handle that noise. And we've worked it in fall camp, and then starting tomorrow night, we're going to take it to a new level, and then we'll go into our IPF. Our indoor practice facility, and really turn up the volume in there, and it's because we can control that, and we can get our guys prepared. And so, if it caught us off guard, that's one thing. But we're gonna have time to prepare for it, and hopefully be able to execute at a high level.
In addition to that atmosphere, obviously they're very talented on both sides of the ball. Let's take their offense against your defense first. They feel they've got a great offensive line. They've got 2 star running backs, might be the best 1-2 punch in the country. Defensively, what's the biggest key for your group? Where will you think they've improved the most from last year, and where does that show up against this Penn State team?
Well, we got to be able to get off blocks, and we got to tackle the running backs, and we've got to get multiple halves of the football. They're extremely talented. I mean, they've got a lottery pick at left tackle. Their center is a veteran that's kind of runs the show there. You can tell he's highly intelligent. The right tackle will be a draft pick, middle round at worst. The 2 running backs are going to be longtime NFL players. They're a little bit unproven at wideout, kind of like we are, but they're talented. It's not like, these guys were recruited by the who's who, so they can play. For us, it's about handling the elements. It's about handling the speed, getting lined up, being able to communicate in a hostile environment, and then not only getting to the ball, but you got to arrive with bad intentions. And so that's the plan. We respect them. They're going to have a new starting quarterback. Whoever they're going to roll out there, they may even play both of them. I'm not sure. And so we've got to be able to give whoever it is different looks where they can't get into a rhythm.
It's a small world that you live in, and so personalities and people that you've seen for years just find different places. Manny Diaz is their defensive coordinator. You have a history with him. How do you think he's thinking about stopping you, or should I say, what has he liked to do against you in the past?
Well, Manning's highly intelligent. He's had a lot of success. You know, we started and we went against each other. And when I was at Troy, he was at Middle Tennessee, and we got the best of that. And probably toward the end of that, at Troy, we had the better talent. And then when he went to Texas, I was at Texas Tech. The first year he was there, he definitely had better talent, and he got after us. And then we played a really, really close game and played pretty well offensively in 12. He got us again. And then he was at Mississippi State, and I was at Troy as the head coach year one, and it wasn't even close. And so he had a bunch of NFL players on the Mississippi State defense. And so I've got a lot of respect for him. I like him personally. He's really aggressive. He does a good job of being really looking complex, but his guys playing really fast, and he kind of lets them be who they are. And so, you know, I don't know if any of those previous matchups. I don't know. It's about even after if you add them all up, but I don't know if any of that matters. You know, I think, you know, he's got the players on defense. I mean, this is an elite defense, and I'm not sure we'll see anything like it the rest of the year. If you think about this, is they've got 3 defensive ends that 2 of them, one of them's for sure lottery pick. I think 2 of them will be first-round picks, and the third one may be at worst a third-round pick, and I think he could better himself. They got a Mike linebacker that's going to be a first-round pick who's also unbelievable off the edge. They've got a corner that's going to be a first-round pick. They've got a safety that is going to be in the upper part of the NFL draft. They've got a nickel that's going to be in the upper part of the NFL draft, and et cetera, the other corner. So, I mean, this is a group that I'm being conservative here, and this isn't coach speak. They got 9 players that are going to be drafted, not 9 that may play in the NFL or may not. They got 9 players that are going to be drafted, and this will be the fastest defense we play and probably the most talented that we play all year.
Wow.
All right, last question, then we'll get you out of here. Let's talk about quarterbacks here for just a second. You said earlier in the week that the starter's been determined internally. You guys know that. You're not announcing that just yet. So let's talk about both of them for just a minute. I mean, history would suggest we'll see both of them at some point throughout the season, injury or otherwise. Let's start with each, just one thing on each. Biggest key when Garrett Green's in the game to help the offense keep moving is what for him? Same question for Nico. When Nico's in, what's his biggest key?
Yeah, well, I'll go back to this. It's. I think the sense in quarterback battles sometimes is, man, the coach just picks who the starter's going to be, and that's furthest from the truth. It's guys go and win jobs, and that's what's happened. Is the guy's going to roll out there at Penn State as a starter? I mean, he won the job, and everybody in our building knows who that guy is, and that's not a negative to the guy that didn't. It's just I think we got 2 quarterbacks playing at a high level, but one clearly won the job, and the other one's going to continue to challenge and continue to get better. And there are scenarios definitely where we could play both for sure. And so I'll answer the Nico question first. Is when he's in the game, we've got to do a really good job of, because it's going to be his first game in that type of atmosphere, right? Played against Oklahoma State, but it was pouring down rain. Oklahoma State's usually a very tough place to play, but it was about 35 and raining sheets of it was very wet. Now Tony was up.
Yes,
He had a suit and press box, so he was fine. But anyway, it was really
unnecessary. Good.
Yeah,
but true. Well done. Well done.
Yeah. But he didn't have to deal with the crowd noise, and so we've got to do a good job of making sure that we prepare him for the elements, and we do a good job of using the plays that he does really well. For Garrett, the key is for him, he's played a lot of football. Now, he's only started 2, played most of the game of 3, but he's played a lot. And so the elements and the crowd and stuff should not bother him. And because he's had to, if you remember, he played a lot when we went to Oklahoma and really should have won the game back in 21. He played a lot in that game. And so he's had to deal with that, and so he has that experience to fall back on. The key for him is not going to be too much, and then understanding the speed that they have on defense. Because he's fast, Garrett's fast, they got a few guys that are faster.
Yeah. All right, once again, we truly appreciate your time greatly. I know you're super busy, so appreciate you doing this. And whenever you want to be the third guy, we'll get Kirchhoff out of here so fast he won't even remember that he was on the show.
Well, let Hoppy know I asked about him.
I'll do
Thanks,
it.
guys. Appreciate
Thanks,
y'all.
Appreciate it. Take care. There he is. Neal Brown, head coach. So that was a lot of good stuff right there. So they're going inside the indoor practice facility, and basically if you don't have a headache when you walk out, then you probably didn't have it high enough, right?
Yeah, and and he's of course right on here. That's the challenge of this. It's not just the atmosphere, which is going to be difficult. But West Virginia's played in tough atmospheres before. It's not like it's a cakewalk walking into Norman, Oklahoma, right? Texas at times can be extremely loud. So West Virginia's seen that before, and I don't mean that as any knock against Penn State because it is one of the very best in the country. This is a flat, loaded, talented Penn State team. I think that's maybe even more the story. Normally the story is the whiteout and the atmosphere in Penn State at night. To me, it's that defense, and he outlined that perfectly. This offense has a lot of skill. This defense is flat loaded. This is going to be an extreme challenge for West Virginia. Yeah.
All right, we're ready to do this? Ready to do this? Do it. Textual Healing brought to us by episode800.com. Visit episode800.com. All the great merch, coffees, and things like that, including the Efforting t-shirt that I'm wearing. Three Guys Before the Game also brought to us by GoMart. Go for good times. Go for GoMart. Sign up to register to win. Chance to go to the Mountaineer Man Trip. 2 people each game. Compliments at GoMart will walk in with the Mountaineers. Get your rewards card. Sign up. Do that thing. Go to GoMart.com. That's GoMart.com. You ready?
Go.
All right, let's do it. This is lengthy. Three Guys, first-time texter, and E1 listener. So that means episode 1.
New term.
He listened all the way from episode 1. Here from exit 1 on I-79. It took me 480 episodes to finally send a text. I wanted to share a story that will certainly make one smile. So a quick backstory. My grandson Cash was born last June. Had to be born in Pittsburgh because of a heart issue. This is my son Caleb and his wife's first child. So last June, within a week of being born, Cash had open heart surgery. He had to stay at UPMC Children's for over 100 days. He had a second surgery in September. It was scheduled, so this was not complications. So Caleb's going back and forth working in Charleston, long weekends in Pittsburgh, so lots of windshield time. I told him about Three Guys so he could have something to help him with the drives every week. It was nearly a year ago that he sent a text that you read on the show. He was so pumped by that moment, so Three Guys helped take his mind off the pressure of life as he traveled back and forth. He would tell me how much he'd listened to the podcasts. There's a little guy right there. So a quick Cash update. He is over 1 year old now, and he's doing awesome, and he's got a bright future with some pretty cool scars to share later.
Awesome.
That was the backstory that needed to be shared to appreciate the rest of the story. So last week, Caleb had a big job interview with a large company here in Charleston. Career job chance for him. In the interview, which lasted about an hour, he told me about some of the questions that were asked. They asked, if you could spend a day with anyone and just sit and talk, who would you choose? They went around the 3-team interview panel, and they all said their person. And then without hesitation, Caleb says, Tony Caridi. He calms me. I'm not sure how that answer was received, but he was super proud of his answer. Maybe that calming voice is what put that boar to sleep to check a bucket list item off for Scopes. And an unheard never happens with large companies. Caleb got the call 2 hours later on that Friday. He got the job. Maybe that answer calmed them too. So put that on your resume, TC. Just goes to show us you never know the impact we have on those around us. Appreciate the podcast and all the efforting that happens behind the scenes. P.S. Whenever we get a Three Guys show in Charleston, I'll make you some brisket you'll never forget. Shredded brisket. There it is. In Dana's voice, he says, yeah, pretty good. You got it. Thank you very much, Mr. Don Kinder. Well, that brisket is pretty good, right?
Great text on. Put Cash back up there for a second. Let's see Cash again.
We
real
see
quick.
the little guy out there. Can you put the little guy back up? Look at that little
There he
cutie.
That's a great smile. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Good for everybody. Glad he's well.
Yeah. See that Bud Light sign and that wherever he is, he should say Kirchville. When's Kirchville getting billboards?
That's a good point.
Yeah. Texter, hey, three guys, a couple of things pretty much unrelated to sports. I'm wearing a three-guy shirt that was recently gifted to me by my son. I was thrilled to receive it, as I, who am not very tech-savvy, was not having much luck efforting my way through the website to obtain one for myself. The shirt is by far the most well-made, easy-to-wear soft shirt I've ever had.
There we go.
Thank you. The workmanship is superior, from the label on the inside to the logo on the back of the shirt and the stitching on the front. Boom.
Excellent.
Secondly, Kermit's key lime pie. I, like Hoppy, was a key lime purist. However, the day I saw Kermit's frozen key lime pie advertised on a chalkboard outside a small cafe, I knew I needed to try it. It is a very thick wedge of pie frozen on a stick, like a popsicle stick, and then dipped in either dark chocolate, milk chocolate, strawberry, white chocolate. It's yummy. Also a little messy in the end. Maybe with some efforting. It could be on the food truck game day in the parking lot at Daniels.
Here we go.
Thank you. Love your show. Makes me laugh. Feels like home. Can't wait to get back to West Virginia from homecoming. Shirt in tow, signed by MJ and Savannah. So she's, I don't know if
Well, no, you know it's male or
don't know if it's a
female.
male or female, but regardless, they're in on the food court as well. They probably know what's going on.
Well, it came with an open mind. Kirchville said only take key lime pie one way. Wouldn't come off that.
Yeah, that's true. Texter, hey, three guys. John W. here from Massillon, Ohio, hometown of Andrew Wilson Lamp, always a West Virginia connection. It's that time of the year where Mountaineer fans get a little head crazy waiting for the season to start, so much that you're willing to go to great lengths to see the old Gold and Blue play in Happy Valley. For example, hotel rooms all booked, way too expensive. I thought I was out of luck to get over the Happy Valley on September 2. However, after finding a tree house for rent on Airbnb, only $65 and 9 minutes from the stadium, I was able to talk my dad and brother into going to the game. We're excited to watch the old Gold and Blue win by at least 2 touchdowns. If we have to sleep in the trees to do it, we'll do it. Anyway, just wanted to share how crazy August can make those who bleed WV really enjoy the show.
Think he's really in a treehouse?
You can rent those.
I need a picture of that.
Okay.
He needs to follow up there with a picture once they get up there. I want to see those accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
See how that looks.
Probably won't be a problem. Texter, Pat from Wheeling. I love the show. A bit out of an out-of-season question. My wife and I just noticed that the men's basketball team has just signed a cook. We're wondering how many we have are on the roster because it seems as though they just keep signing people. We're up to about 50. Do they all not stick? No, right now it's 12. Right now it's 12. You can have 13 on scholarship. You could also do walk-ons. So they have 1 scholarship to give. Obviously, you're waiting on eligibility for Raekwon Battle. So you just don't know. And Noah Farrakhan from last week, that's also an eligibility question. You don't know if he'll be eligible. So, yeah, they're not over. Texter, dear three guys, all due respect, but the previously mentioned text message last week was neither your first text from Portugal or your first Portuguese pepperoni roll.
Huh.
Someone else stamped both of those bingo cards last year.
Should have known.
Look at this text. Dear three guys, this is from September 25 of a year ago. I've got 2 quick stories. I got married this summer, and the win Thursday was personally very fulfilling. My wife's a Hokie. For our honeymoon, we went to Spain and Portugal. I'm having breakfast at my hotel in Libsyn, and they had something called bread and sausage. Beautiful roll stuffed with Spanish chorizo. Portuguese pepperoni roll. So good, I snagged a couple for the flight home. My wife, for our wedding, asked for a certain Metallica song to be played at the reception so all her Hokie alums could dance around to it, but it had one condition, and I had a song too. And then he went on. He had Country Road. So they actually were there, Lane, Winchester, Virginia. So this is the second
big in Portugal
chorizo pepperoni roll in Portugal. So excuse me, I completely did not remember that, but thank you very much. And now it only furthers our need to try one of those bad boys.
I would love to try one. I think those would be excellent. In
Texter, hey three guys, one of my classes on Monday, I'm out on the spot for a backyard brawl prediction. My prediction was 35-24 WVU, and the Mountaineers run for 150 plus. Is this a crazy prediction or right on?
No, not crazy.
Okay.
Might need 200 plus on the ground. Might bump that up.
Texter. Tony won't say it, but West Virginia is better at quarterback than last year. Also, Jalen Anderson, 10-plus 20-yard runs this season. I'll take the over. 10 runs of 20 or more.
I might too.
Excuse me?
I might too. You got good breakaway speed.
Texter, I just tried again to have my first Kercheval at Varsity Club. Sold out again.
Efforting.
I don't know what we're going to do with that doggone beer. Can't keep it.
Bill's got more going, right? Didn't we just?
It's currently a batch.
Did one batch,
process.
but he immediately started another one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Got to have enough for the food court.
Yeah. Three guys before the game brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They got the greatest tag. They sell family fun. Super fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. LouWendellMarineSales.com. They sell the Avalon pontoon boat, which, as you could see if you're watching on YouTube's, that thing is bad. That is a bad boy boat right there. That'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it?
Do a little tubing right behind that.
Oh, that's awesome. Look at the way that those things have evolved from what I've said that last week, but I'm serious.
The floating crates with the lawn chairs bolted down.
Yeah.
Not that anymore.
No, not that. So Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans, best pontoon, well, the biggest and most successful, and they are the go-to pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia. Texter, Scopes and Bradley the Greek. Hello, in the last episode, a texter mentioned they were getting married during the Saturday of Labor Day. All due respect, I feel like this behavior is selfish. All due respect. Good luck to the lovely couple, of course. That said, what are your views on this subject?
Hold on, that was an elite backhand right there. He gave you the double all due respect, and then finishes not only with good luck to the couple, gave you an of course.
That was parenthetical. Dave in Knoxville, Tennessee continues, that said, what are your views on this subject? Should engaged couples try to avoid college football Saturdays? Are fall Sundays in bounds? Is an away open weekend considered fair game? I love the show. Hopefully I'll see you in State College or Orlando so I can get my hunting rifle scoped, autographed. Dave in Knoxville. I have no problems with weddings on away games for West Virginia. If you have to do it in the fall, go ahead and do an away game. I think you should really stay away from the home games because invariably you're going to have people have to make decisions whether they come to your wedding or not, and chances are you'll find out who your real friends are. That might hurt your feelings.
Do what you want to do.
You never gave
Do what you want to do. Don't tell people how to live their lives.
I'm fine.
Do what you want to do. You want to do it on a football game, do it on a football game.
You had, in our last episode back on Monday.
Do what you want to do. Yeah.
You asked a tight end question.
I did?
Yeah. How many touchdowns? You had a tight end. You go, trivia question. And I go, like, don't cheat. Don't look it up. Da-da-da-da-da. And so we had a...
okay. Yeah, it was which tight end had the most touchdown receptions over the last decade. So, like, from 2013 through last season, 2022, which tight end had the most touchdown receptions? Don't look it up.
Anthony in Point Pleasant said Trayvon Wesco.
Tremendous guess. That'd be the obvious guess, I think.
Brett in Charlotte, North Carolina said Trayvon Wesco.
Again, makes sense. Guys in the league.
Then this one is, this person wins, but they didn't give their name. Is this correct? Cody Clay?
It is correct.
He says Cody Clay.
It is.
No, Tony, I did not cheat. Initially thinking Trayvon Wesco, feel like he was used way more in the pass game than most tight ends, but then I thought Cody Clay due to playing duration. I'll stick with Wesco as my answer. So you're out, but one guy did say Cody Clay.
Yeah, Cody Clay was the answer on that.
That's a great one.
Yeah, good job.
Hey, three guys. I'm a long-time listener, but first-time texter. Listening to episode 480 this morning on the over-under segment, I'll take the under yards, but over the touchdowns. If you remember, Mike, talking about tight ends, Mike O dropped, I believe, 2 TDs last season. That would have slid the number to a little.
Mm-hmm.
I do not remember what game, but was clearly a red zone focal point for this staff prior to the injury. It was
Good
Texas.
Point. He was. Yeah, it was Texas.
I believe that Cole Taylor could be the best tight end in the Big 12 and be David Sills-esque in the end zone. Throw it up, throw it high, let the big boy go to work. Thank you. Love the show.
Agree. Last practice I was at, I asked 2 longtime observers of WVU football. I put the number there at 4.5 touchdowns. They couldn't have been quicker to give me an under. I might play the alternate touchdown line. You get some nice plus money on that.
A lot of people getting intoxicated early on this stuff. You got to be careful.
Big dude. Throw it up.
Tony, I appreciate the feedback. With all due respect, my best friend's name is Peyton Hartman, currently running the Stray Cat Chimney Shack in Star City over there. I'm coming to run it with him in late October. So these guys are coming in October to run that chimichanga place in Star City. He may need a proper shout-out, but I know he will love the shout-out from two guys and number one, efforting. You three guys are great. We've been listening to Tony on the radio since we're 7. Thank you. Send me the address and the days that you guys want chimneys, and Peyton is going to bring those to you guys.
Yes, big, nice, excellent. In. Can't wait to try the chimney.
Yeah, we'll take them. We're going to, yeah.
Appreciate that.
Texter. Faye in Fayetteville checks in.
Probably not a real name.
Probably not. Tony, I'm hearing the guy's wedding dilemma back on our last show reminded me of a quick story. In 2013, I was the best man in a wedding the day West Virginia played Oklahoma State. Big upset, if you remember. I'll spare you the details, but after the wedding, my wife had to come upstairs and drag me away from the TV on 3 different occasions. Once it was for pictures. Once it was to walk into the reception hall with the wedding party. And then the last time to give my man's best toast. So 3 times she yanks him away. It's some pretty seminal moments in that day. The 3rd time, she really let me have it. I think I slept on the couch that night. Anyway, consult WV's football schedule before planning a fall event. Weddings were made for April through August anyway, signed by Faye and Fayetteville.
Well,
so I wrote back to Faye.
Well, hold on. I mean, I can see why Faye had to go in the witness protection program there and use a not real name.
I wrote back.
Chastised.
I wrote back to Faye. I said, still married? Question mark. Because he said it was 2013. But he was already been married at that point. He was just the best man in this wedding. He says, 20 years and counting. Someone has to mow the grass and open the jars. There you go. Once again, 3 guys before the game.
Also, that
all about marital bliss.
Faye not giving his real name as he fires that zinger there. There are a lot of people that open their own jars. Your wife mows the grass.
She's off this year. She's on a 1-year sabbatical.
Yeah, she's mowed it many times.
Yeah,
because you went soft and got a rider. For all those years, you made her walk it and push it. Now you take over, you get on a rider, sit your butt right on the thing, and just drive around. Drive around out there waving to people like you're doing something. Out there just waving to the new neighbors. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you.
So I was mowing it on Saturday, and she's out there because she still likes to help, right? She likes to help. That's a pretty big mower, so we're gonna slowly orient.
She uses a chainsaw. She can handle your mower.
So it's 0 turn.
Did you gift her a chainsaw once for like Mother's Day?
Yeah, Christmas.
Yeah,
Christmas. She asked for it, so I got it.
Well, my point is she's asking for a chainsaw, handling the chainsaw. She can handle your rider mower.
Yeah. So I fire that up, and she's sitting there like in the front of the garage. I take it out. It's 0 turn. So I crank it, and I start just doing circles, just spinning around. She looked at me like, you.
Like you're the 13-year-old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, why not?
You're not going to be mowing long. You won't get through the whole mowing season.
I've done every single time so far this year.
You're going to get the hook at some point. Might be next round, first time yard fully comes in, you're getting the hook. That grass comes in nice. She will not have you out there doing donuts.
Lawn's had a great year because this new mower has really super nice heights. Like, some it's either like 1, 2, 3.
So you're not buzz cutting the thing. You're
keeping
it long.
I got 1/4 inches.
Yeah.
I go 3, 3.25, 3, 3.50, 3.75. So
you're like Wrigley Field in the old days when those Cardinals would come in with all that speed.
And last Saturday I went diagonal.
Oh, so
I went diagonal.
Screwed up.
3 guys before the game brought to us by Comax Business Systems. What do? They'll do everything for your business. They'll manage your IT. They will provide you with remote monitoring to make sure that everything is safe. They'll give you a free consultation on that. And they can put in a phone system in your workplace from 1 digital line to 1,000 digital lines. Check them out. They're wonderful people. West Virginia-based, 20-plus years in the business. Just recently were named a top 25 dealer in the United States. Comax Business Systems right here in West Virginia. So, with that being said, believe it or not, the next time we return, do you know what it'll be?
Game week.
Yeah, it'll be game week. It'll be game week. And Miss Joan also taunts me about game week.
Why?
Because she knows I get get a little tight.
Tight, yeah.
Get a little tight on game week. And she'll start to, oh, it's game week. Oh, it's game week. It's game week. Taunts me.
Well, there's a good chance you get replaced mowing on game week because you will get tight. You won't have time. It's going to be long.
Going Sundays on it.
She's going to go out there, just take the mower and start doing it.
Do it on Sundays. That's fine. Special thanks to Neal Brown for joining us. A reminder that you can sign up for the Mountaineer Man Trip at Go-Mart. Do it right now on the website, gomart.com. Sign up, get a rewards card, save money on your gas, on your food, and get an opportunity to walk into the stadium with the Mountaineers. Three Guys also brought to us by the Burdette Camping Center. Unbelievable deals. Visit their website at burdettecamping.com with a reminder that right now, all their 2022 fifth wheels are $3,000 under the invoice. $3 under the invoice on the 2022 fifth wheels. Are they going to start their promos for the game? We'll probably have one next week.
I've already received one.
Awesome. Three Guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales. They sell family fun. Visit them at louwendellmarinesales.com. And Three Guys brought to us by Comax Business Systems, comaxwv.com. Well, our new producer seems to have handled this, his first solo effort, quite well.
Did great.
New nickname for him. I went leaning Luke.
Leaping.
I went leaping Luke Rousey.
Yeah.
Last episode.
Yeah.
Learned a little bit more about him now. Lucky Luke Rousey.
Lucky Luke Rousey.
Lucky Luke Rousey. He, like you, he likes the numbers a little bit.
Oh, good.
Likes to.
Yeah.
You guys are going to.
Sure.
You guys will get it. Yeah. And like you, he does it in moderation.
As well you should.
As well he should.
Everything in moderation.
So Lucky Luke Rousey. Miss Jack, too. Don't you miss Jack? Jack was terrific.
Terrific. I'm sure we'll get a text from him shortly after he checks in.
Yeah.
By the way, head to episode800.com and get one of those nice efforting shirts like you're wearing. It does look good.
It is nice. Matter of fact, it's real nice. See ya.